Hello and welcome to this beginner's guide of surviving Dead by Daylight, where apparently I'm the devil. In this video, we're going to be going over everything that is about survival. We're going to be talking about how to level up, how to get through a game, how to survive, pretty much anything there is to do about surviving. What we're not going to be going over is what these menu options are or any of the menus. If you missed the last video, go back and check that out because we go over everything there. We're also not going to go in depth about characters and what they personally do and their different perks, offerings, and anything else that's tied to that. This is just going to be a general overview of how to actually just play the game. And if you find yourself liking this video, don't forget that there is that subscribe and like button. Starting this game off here. Alright, so how do you escape? How do you survive this game? You do 5 generators. And then that powers up the exit gates, and then you go to an exit gate, and then you open that up, and then you can leave. You can also leave through a thing called this hatch. It spawns on the ground at some point. If you want to know more information about that, I have some more information in my first video. Also, we'll be talking about it later. So to repair a generator, you come up right to it, and it'll tell you how to do it. So you go ahead and click down on it, and you just hold it. As you can see, the progress bar is going up. You can have more than one person on a generator, obviously, as it's going on right now. Depending on where the generator... Oh, okay. Alright, we're going to get away from that mess because I just saw Michael staring at us. And they don't see that. So that kind of sucks. But okay, so as you can see, like this one is in an open area. So you can get 4 people on this generator at one time. And the progression of this will be very fast. And I do want to give you a quick tip while we're out here. If you look up, you can see these guys up here. Alright, let me get out of here. If you look up, you can see these lights up here. Now these lights are going to indicate that there is a generator right there. So if you're having trouble finding generators, just look up. Look up and try and find it. So as we are repairing this, you have to be ready for these things called skill checks. Now, what those are is either a pass or a fail. Okay, so you saw me right there. Oh, we both just failed a skill check. So, one tip for the skill check, what you're going to be end up doing is you're going to be listening. So as you can hear that little thing right there, you hear it, it happens every single time right before a skill check decides to pop up. It gives you a little audible noise to say, hey, a skill check is going to come up, be prepared to hit the skill check. Now within a skill check, you have 2 sections. You have the great section and you have the good section. You hit either of those 2 and the generator won't blow up and it'll progress some. If you don't hit them, the generator will blow up and it'll regress. Also, the killer gets alerted to where you are. Now, so what I'm doing right here is I'm healing that person right there. The reason for that is because we get 2 hits. So our first hit is just injures us. And it doesn't really, it slows you down, but not a whole ton to actually notice. And then the second hit, you actually fall onto the ground. You can't get up by yourself unless you have a perk for it. And then when you're on the ground, you have to get a teammate to come and help you, or the killer is going to pick you up and put you on a hook. Now being on hooks is where you don't want to be. The reason for that is because that is how you die. So we're about to complete the 5th generator. Once we complete it, boom, it'll show us where the exit gates are. So there's one, oh, right next to us, and there's one over there. Now, so this is me opening up the gate. You get no skill checks here. You just have to hold it down for 20 seconds. Unless there's a perk out to tell you otherwise. And then the exit gates open, and then you can exit. Now, I have 2 options. I can leave, or I can come back in and try and save my buddy over here, which is what I'm gonna do. And earlier I talked about another way to escape, which is the hatch. So let's go over that a bit. Actually, let's just bring in the part from the other video in here. The hatch spawns when there is 1 more generator completed than there are people alive. So if you have 4 survivors alive, you need 5 generators completed. If you have 3 survivors alive, you need 4 generators completed, and so on. That is just the spawning of the hatch to see the location of it. And yes, I did say just spawning. The hatch isn't open and you cannot escape through it at the point that it just spawns on the map. It's just a way to find it and know its location. There are 2 ways to escape from the hatch when it is closed. The first way doesn't deal with any survivor death or them leaving at all. You can use a key to open up the hatch. And the key is an item, and you need to make sure you have the right key. It's a whole thing. Another way to escape from the hatch is if everybody is out of the game except you or just one person. Be it they either die or they escape themselves. Once there is one person left in the game and the hatch is already spawned, the hatch will just open up by itself. Then that one remaining person can escape out of that hatch. Now, one thing I do want to know, if you are caught in this situation yourself and you're looking for the hatch, just listen for it because it makes a unique noise. So these right here are called totems. Now with these right here, they are mainly for when the killer uses hexes as his perks. To cleanse them, all you have to do is just hold down the button. You don't get any skill checks with these. It just takes time. The progress bar goes, and then once they are done, now keep note of that candle right there. Once they're done, boom, they look like that. You get 600 for cleansing, and that's it. Now, that didn't really do anything, and that doesn't mean anything unless it has the candles underneath it burning. If the flame is on it underneath, that means that the killer has a perk that is hexed. And if you get rid of that, then you kill his perk, meaning that the perk is no longer in play. Another interactive item in this game is chests. So you search through these chests and you get items. They can have add-ons on them or not. It all depends on your luck. The items that you get out of chests are completely random. Sometimes you get great ones and sometimes you don't get so great ones. It's really easy to search a chest. All you have to do is hold down your action button. You're going to get no skill checks with this, and it takes about 15 seconds to search. I do want to mention though, if you stop searching at any point, it will alert to the killer exactly where your position is. So one thing that I have not mentioned yet, which I should have, is you can exit. So if I exit the game, I can quit out of the game. So I can exit out of this game, and so like say I'm the first one to die and I die within like the first few minutes and there's a whole long game ahead of you. You don't have to stay in this game at all. You can just leave because at that point your game is over. It is done. You don't get any penalty for leaving at that point. You're good to go. So you can spectate your teammates. Again, you don't have to. You can leave as soon as your game is done. As soon as you're escaped, you can leave and move on to the next game. So what would a tutorial of surviving be without knowing how you die? So these right here are the hooks. So the killer picks you up and he brings you over and lands you on this hook. You don't want to be on this hook. That is not a good spot for you to be because you are dying on that hook unless someone comes and saves you. Now there is a chance to get off of the hook when you're first hooked on your first one. You have about 3 or 4 attempts to escape, and it is about a 3 or 4% chance that you can actually get off of the hook with one try. So it's really not worth it. You really want to sit there and you want to wait for your teammates to come rescue you. It's going to give them more time to get the generators done that you need to get done in order to leave. And I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just going to give them more time to get you. Once you get picked up by the killer, you can wiggle out of his grasp if he takes a while, but he just dropped me. But you can wiggle out of his grasp if he can't get over to a hook quick enough. When you're out of his grasp because you wiggled out, you're able to run away from him. You are pretty much just one hit at that point, but you have the ability to get away. So I've been hooked, but I am staying calm. I'm not dealing with any of the trying to escape. I'm not taking away my health because I'm trying to escape. We're just staying calm and we're waiting for our teammates to come get us. And one of my survivor friends got the opportunity and he came and got me. And we're just gonna run straight out of here and we're gonna make it. So about the hooks. Any hook you can die on. You can die from the first hook, you can die from the second hook, and you're definitely dying from the third hook. So the first hook, you have your full health. At half health, you start to struggle. But before that, you have the opportunity to try to escape. Now, as I said before, you shouldn't even try to escape. You have a very low percentage of actually getting to escape. And if you try to escape and don't succeed, you will end up hurting yourself. Which is why you only have about 3 or 4 tries. Because after those, your health is down to half and you start into the struggle phase. Now in the struggle phase, all you're doing is tapping the action button and just hoping that your teammates can get you, because at that point, you cannot get yourself out whatsoever. You are 100% relying on your team to come and get you. And then after the struggle phase is death. So when you get hooked first and you don't go into struggle phase, you have a second hook where you're instantly into struggle phase, and then the third hook is instant death. If you get into the struggle phase on your first hook, then the second hook is instant death. Now there is a way to deny the killer their hooks. You can either have the saboteur perk or you can have a toolbox. Both will allow you to take down hooks. However, I do have to let you know that it is not permanent. Taking hooks down is only temporary and they will respawn. And you can't take down the hooks in the basement. Yeah, so that's all nice about the hooks, but how do you not even get hooked? There's definitely no possible way that you're going to go through this game and not see the killer and not have the killer see you. At some point, you're going to run into the killer and he's going to be coming after you. You're going to have to get away from him. So let's learn how they hunt and how to get away. First thing that you want to keep note of is you are in third person view and the killer is in first person view. You know exactly which way the killer is looking by the red stain that's in front of them. There's a lot of angles that you can see that the killer cannot see. So keep in mind that sometimes you're hiding in an obvious spot to you, but the killer can't see it. And with that, I want you to keep calm. Don't get scared, don't get rattled, don't sprint off for no reason. Sometimes you can hide when you think you can't. And all this talk really ties into one of my methods called proximity hiding. So just like I said, you're in third person, so that means that you can see stuff when you're hiding behind something. Being able to do that is crucial because you can see where the killer's coming from and you can go around a tree or go around a bale of hay or any other obstacle object that is in between you and the killer. If you are going to be using this method of staying close to the killer, you're gonna want to know how to keep calm. You don't want to go off sprinting somewhere thinking that he can see you when he actually doesn't, because that leaves behind some scratch marks that he can just follow that leads right to you. These scratch marks happen every single time that you sprint, and only when you sprint. Being that, it kind of gives you an advantage because you can use those. How? You can try and guide the killer one way, and then you can double back and go another. This is a good misdirection with the scratches that you can do, and another way to get away from the killer. Another way, as you're running around with the killer chasing you, to either prolong the chase or to potentially get away, you can use pallets. Now these pallets can be broken by the killer, but it's going to take them to do an action and they're going to have to look down at the pallet so they lose sight of you and you can get away. If you slam a pallet down right on a killer itself, they will be stunned at first, causing them to lose vision at you and not be able to do any action whatsoever. This effect only lasts for a couple of seconds, so you better hurry and get out of there. I do want to note that these pellets are a one-time use and they do not respawn. So you want to make sure that you're actually using the pellets to their full advantage. You don't want to willy-nilly just flip them over and waste them. Another method of hiding or getting away from the killer is using lockers or closets. The name really depends on who you're talking to. With these, you can get inside of them. That's the only course of action with them. You just get inside of them and you hide. And you hope that the killer does not come and open it up. Because if the killer goes to the locker that you're in and he opens it up, he picks you up and brings you right to a hook. There are two ways to get inside of a locker. If you sprint into it, you make a loud noise alerting the killer where your position is. Or you can go silently into it, not alerting him by sound at all. So if you know that your killer is checking these lockers, I would suggest that you don't go in them. But if you notice that they're not checking them that often, then it might be a viable option. I usually use these as my last resort. I definitely would suggest not relying on them. A couple of last minute tips that I want to leave you off with is you want to learn how to run while looking behind you. That way you can see where the killer is going and then you can decide which direction that you should be going in. Also, this is excellent for the killers that throw things. That way you can dodge them when they're getting thrown. Another tip is towards saving your buddies. If you have a friend that is injured that is running away from the killer and you are not injured at all, use your body to block the shots. Especially if you guys are running towards the exit door to escape. Depending upon where you are, it's a sure way to get you both killed, or it's a sure way to get you both saved. And that is all I got for you for this beginner's survival guide. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you actually learned a lot. If you've already been playing this game and you see something that I've missed, let me know in the comments below. I will be posting more Dead by Daylight content in the future, so if you liked this, consider subscribing. And check out the links in the description for some support. And that's all I got. So until next time, stay different, everybody.
Oh, she's back, she's back, she's back.
No!
Oh, no.
I'm running away. I'm going to need some heals. Alright, you better run away. Let's get some heals going. We got to get some heals going right now.
I just want to get that generator.